Hello and welcome to Imperfect in an Uncertain World, resources for living with authenticity and purpose. Today we're going to talk about juggling. Have you ever seen yourself as someone who's able to juggle, hold a lot of balls up in the air at one time? What I've discovered is that sometimes when you're juggling the 10,000 things that you have to do in your life, you just need to let the balls drop. Let them hit the ground and then be still, let go, and survey the debris. I was reading the other day, and this was interesting, that one translation of be still is let go. So, what happens when we just let go, when we let those balls drop? And so, one of the things that I will tell you that I have just come to the realization I've accepted that I am not a master juggler. Sure, there are days that I keep the 10,000 things that I need to get done, keep all those balls in the air. But every once in a while, one of those balls will ricochet off of my fingers and they'll crash to the ground. Losing my focus, more than one winds up on the ground, and sometimes they all wind up on the ground. But what I've realized is that maybe those falling balls provide a moment of respite and regathering for me. I don't always have to be on point. You don't always have to be your best self either. Sometimes we get stuck in our imperfections, and that is totally okay. So, if you're like me, you drop those balls, you see the mess that you've created, and what might follow is just a good old messy cry. Now, those tears release the angst, the fear, the frustration, and bring a calm. When we cry, those tears are chemically very different from when we're cutting an onion and we cry. And so we're releasing that stuff that we can't hold on to, because to hold on to it would destroy us. To hold on to it would mire us even deeper into our imperfections. And then we are calm. And only in that moment of calm can we really look at the debris littering the ground of our being. And we look at it with new eyes. Our perception shifts. And we become more discerning as we ask two very difficult questions. The first question is, what do I really need as I'm looking at everything? And the second question is probably more difficult than the first, is what do I no longer need? So let's backtrack up. Before we even begin to answer those questions, we need to do one very simple thing that can become very complicated. We need to practice self-compassion. And this alleviation of suffering actually began with that messy cry and our refusal to act like everything was okay. Self compassion begins whenever we say, that's an illusion that everything's okay. It's an illusion that I am so strong that I never break down. And then self compassion continues with every act of kindness towards the self. So maybe we savor a cup of tea or nibble on a square of chocolate. We might go for a walk. We may connect with a friend. We may listen to some beautiful music. Whatever we do, the intent is to be still, to let go, and to allow that suffering to percolate and fade away. Because each act of self compassion eases our suffering and brings us to balance. So we've had enough self compassion. We have now to feel calm, to feel ready to tackle. We're going to feel ready to tackle those questions that I talked about earlier. So I always say, you know what? Begin with the positive stuff, begin with the easy stuff to answer. So begin with what you need. Or, as I say, what's really working in our life? What can we name that we really need? Focus on the positives. It lays the foundation for the hard reflection later. It's find ways to celebrate what's working. So we might say, I'm really busy at work and with my family, and maybe you're in school, but I really need to find 15, 20 minutes, a half an hour every day that's just mine. That's what I need. I need to have friends around because maybe those friends are how you feel affirmed. I need to feel appreciated. I need just to have a safety net, that I need to have someone that I can go talk to. Um, I need to continue to create. And so for me, no matter how busy I am, that creation comes in the form of writing. So I need to hold the ball up in the air journaling, and I need to hold my next book up in the air. Those are the things that might seem like not necessities, but luxuries. But to me, those are things that I desperately need. And so those are the things that you want to pick up the balls again so you can begin to juggle. Those are life giving, sustaining your energy. So no matter how small or seemingly inconsequential, name those balls that you're going to juggle. Now, the next thing to ask yourself is, what do I no longer need? Now, this is tough because we wouldn't have gotten to this place of dropped balls if we knew inside what we don't need or what we can let go of in the moment, even what we're willing to let go of. Um, if you're like me, sometimes I'm hyper responsible. So I think that I've got to make sure that everything is okay and taken care of, even if it's not my responsibility to make sure that everything is taken care of. So that would be one of the balls that I let go of, is to really discern what is mine and what is somebody else's responsibility, and take care, not to slack off, but to take care of what's mine and let the other ball go, that I'm not responsible for taking care of everything. So name it. Even if you don't believe that you can let it go, name it in the moment. And then state your desire, your intent to let it go and to acknowledge that you need to let this go because this is what is causing suffering. And I have to say, that's the really tough part of really looking down. Some things, some of those balls you're going to have to continue to hold in the air because you need them. They might be financial reasons, they might be relational reasons, they might be medical reasons. Um, they might be mental or emotional reasons that you've got to keep them. But it's important to name those and give yourself the power of choice. Then to ask yourself, does that ball need to change a little bit? Is there a way that I can shift the weight so that I can balance it easier? Can I let go of some of the things that I desperately need? How can I fine tune this so that it really is a representation of my authentic self? And that's the rough part, because trust that in time, when the suffering is rubbed clean from those balls, you will be able to be still and let it go. Now, it's also important that we celebrate the fact that we're able to juggle. I mean, think about all the things that you do throughout your day. Sometimes it's really tough to keep all those balls in the air, but you do it. And that's something to celebrate. Not everyone has such an agile way of meeting life. If you're listening to this and you've gotten to this point in it, you obviously do. So I would encourage you to pick up the balls that need to be in the air and juggle away, knowing that somehow, some way you've got this. Even when the ball falls, it's really okay. So I want to thank you for listening to this. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. But most importantly, I want you to really be with the many things that you do throughout your life that really give meaning to your life. I'm a life coach. If you need a little help discerning this, give me a call. Let's schedule a session or 5. We can try it on for size. Find out, get more resources at my website, intentandaction.com, intentandaction.com. But most importantly, cut yourself some slack as you really begin to juggle your life. Have a terrific day.